Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. Today I'm doing an interview with my friend Tiana Soliday all about short-term rentals, short-term rental arbitrage, and how she got started into doing arbitrage and eventually buying her first investment property by just getting started. It's a good one, so let's get right into it.
Working as a travel nurse, and then this epiphany came to me where I was like, okay, living a lifestyle I want to live and committed to that lifestyle and taking care of my health and advancing the things that I want. Well, I can contribute all of my funds to living a lifestyle now or to be putting it all away for later. And value-wise and how I hold with integrity and how I live my life, I'm not an or person, I'm an and person. So it's like, how can I continue living my lifestyle I want right now and then still be contributing to my future? So that's how I got started in the real estate space. And while I was traveling, I midterm rented an apartment that I was renting, and then I transitioned. I got rid of the apartment, and then I started with Airbnb arbitrage, which is basically like subleasing, corporate leasing, things like that, just to get into my first unit. So I took a course, and within 10 days, I got my first unit. And it was really awesome because your barrier to entry is so much lower. I had $8,000 to furnish my first unit, a 2-bed, 2-bath. I still have that unit, and it does amazing. And then 4 months later, I got my second unit. 6 months later, I got my third unit. 3 months after that, I got my fourth unit. And then now, currently, I'm investing in the real estate instead of just doing the arbitrage. And I purchased a property of January of 2025. So now it's really grown in such a short amount of time, but I couldn't have done it without learning arbitrage and then getting to the space of actually real estate investing without having a background in it.
Mm-hmm. How was that negotiation with all of those owners of what you were planning to do on their property?
It was really great. So I went corporate instead of like landlord because I wanted the amenities for guests as far as like the pool, the gym, the parking, the downtown access. And then, so I went corporate route and it was really great. I walked in there. I had confidence. I was clear on what I was doing. And I put everything under an LLC instead of my personal name as a tenant. And I was just honest, like, do you guys offer corporate leasing? A lot of the times they didn't know what that meant, especially for the use of short-term rentals, like under a 30-day stay. So I had to educate on that. And I actually was able to bypass some of the regular property managers and actually build relationship with like the owners and the investors of the actual corporate property managements. Yeah. So knowing that like I hold professionalism, I hold integrity, how I run my business and how I take care of the units, it was really nice because now they were offering us more units and to build that out. But
in real estate, first impressions can make or break a deal. Whether you're listing a home for sale or marketing an investment property, having high quality photos are key at grabbing attention. If you want to stand out in the competitive Colorado Springs market, having high quality photos is essential. And Wayne over at Hamadi excels at getting the best possible photos for your property. He is based right here in Colorado Springs and specializes in capturing properties in the best light. If you're ready to take your property photos to the next level, make sure to contact Wayne over at Homadi and mention you heard about him from Tanner at Red and Joy Real Estate to get 20% off your next shoot. Remember, great photos can make the difference between a quick sale and a stale listing. So make sure to contact Wayne over at Homadi today.
With my vision and my goal, I was like, okay, I'm okay with 4 arbitrages for now, but now I want to lean into the actual investing and owning the properties just because of having the ideas of what I want to build and create and for my guests to experience.
Mm-hmm. How long were you still a travel nurse while you were doing these arbitrage units?
The whole time.
The whole time?
Yeah.
Are you still today?
So
still today.
I took my last contract last year and then I stopped in December. So I've really made my women's coaching and consulting company and also my real estate primary and then nursing secondary. Do some PRN stuff on the side, but the ultimate goal is to fully step away from nursing. So I'm fruitful that will happen this year.
That's awesome. It does take time once you make that commitment, and I think you're doing it smart by slowly working your way up and still juggling all of them, even though some days you're probably like, I wish I didn't have to juggle all this at the same time to still make it work out. But it definitely pays to take it slow to make that transition instead of jumping all in at once.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's how do you want your time to look, and are you enjoying the process? And there's certain phases and seasons of that I had to establish for myself where And what I teach a lot to the women that I work with and high achieving people is the phases of burnout and how that happens, and how burnout can be very cyclical and represent itself because you're stuck in that pattern and that habit. So luckily, with a lot of the self-investment that I've done within Tony Robbins, the different training programs myself, I've really been able to master what it looks like to have like the delegation, the leverage, what I want my time to look like, how I can theme my days, how I can chunk and make it most effective. Because ultimately, what's the purpose of starting a business if you're not enjoying it? Of course, there's going to be ups and downs. It's not rainbows and butterflies, but it's this providing like purpose. Is this providing value? Is it contributing to the mission? Am I learning? Am I growing? And that's how when I thought like business comes first, like nursing comes second, because it's just not feeling that purpose anymore. So I always preach to people, like, if you're constantly going through phases of burnout and not knowing how to manage your time, and you have to sit down and ask yourself, what is this all for? Because if you're just focused on the money, like eventually that's going to catch up to you.
Having a strong why at the end of the day is what I always tell people, and purpose for why you're getting started into business. What was the first market that you decided to go into? And are all these in the same market? And was it just wherever you got your contract that you decided, yep, this is where I'm putting my next one at?
So I used my tax home, so basically where my mom and little sisters are living, and I was really familiar with it, Des Moines, Iowa. So I was already familiar with the market. It was a lower entry, and regulations are, like, there's no regulations here. Like, it's super easy to get started. And so that's why I picked this market. Of course, running your numbers, making sure your comps and everything are working and that there's profitability here. So that's where I started. So I have 2 in downtown Des Moines, and then I went suburbs for the other 3. So around the metro, which is expanding tremendously. So that's where the 5 are at currently. And then the next one I plan to do hopefully in Utah. That's where my heart is leading towards.
That's awesome. What's the typical spread that you're seeing on what you're renting it at and what you are aiming to hit on the midterm or short-term side?
So no longer do midterm, only do short-term. And for obviously always depends on seasonality. So I think the only time that we've like not broke even or negative was like the month of January. Everything else has been profitable for us. So right now, with being busy season, I mean, just on a 2-bed, 2-bath downtown, we can profit like $4,000 a month on our bougie unit that we call it. Yeah, on our 1-bed, 1-bath
bougie unit.
Yeah,
nice.
it's like our little bougie unit. Yeah, I call it the Cartier. So it's super cute. So yeah, I'm really happy about that, and especially when the slower months, which is the January and February and somewhat of March. We've actually had a lot of events go on in March here, so this year looked really, really well. But January was, it was negative, but that's where you're being wise, where you have these higher months, that it's covering the rent or getting someone in there for a longer period of time, like workers and things like that, where it would kind of be medium term, but mainly still short term.
What are most people traveling to this area for in Des Moines?
Conferences, events, work, family, reunions, a lot of people that are from the area that are visiting back. Like, super surprising how many people actually come to the area. And I think it's just the amount of people that are moving here also because of the affordability, especially with like this great migration that's been going on the past, 5 years now throughout the U.S. and people moving and transitioning. Same with like Missouri. It's just getting really big. And I think as the metro continues to grow and it's really safe and nice here, there's just more and more people that are coming here, and more jobs and more travel opportunities for people as well.
Do you know what the average population growth is for Des Moines per year?
Not at the top
Colorado's
of my head.
about 1%, I'd say. So
No.
yeah,
You would probably know that as a realtor, but
yeah, it is part of my job to know that. Yeah,
yeah, from the investor side.
So
yeah, not 100% sure. My partner that does the acquisitions, he may know that number, but not at the top of my head. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So once you did your 4 or 5 arbitrage units, you decided to buy your first property to get more on the investment side of things. Did you have a partner that you did this with?
No. All on, yep,
No,
all on,
just
yep,
you.
all
All
on
on
my
you.
own. Yep, just did
And so what was it the money you were getting from your arbitrage units to do your down payment on this next one?
I used partial, so it was really nice because I actually didn't. I've never bought a home, so I was able to leverage like first time home buyers to get in at a lower rate. Only had 9,000 to put down. This property I got for 310. So now that I was able to use my first time home buyers, I can then convert it to my actual real estate business, but then still use everything for write-offs and everything that we're doing for it right now.
Sweet. And this one is in what market?
Ankeny, Iowa.
If you're planning to get photos done on your next listing or rental property, don't forget to reach out to Wayne with Homani to get 20% off your next shoot.
So it's outside of downtown. So it's in between Ames and Des Moines. So it's a really great location.
And so you're living in it right now and fixing up to get it ready for a short-term rental.
Yes.
What's your plan going to be once it starts getting booked? Are you going to like be bouncing around to just every one of your properties that you own, whichever one's vacant, that's where you're going to stay for the time being?
No, I've actually done this for my one other unit is I stayed in it while I got it ready. And then once it was ready to go, I always plan out where I'm going next. So I was still traveling when I call this one boho, and I knew that I was going back out west. I was in California for a couple years, so I knew I was getting it ready. Once it was ready, I dipped. For this one, it's really nice because it's a 2.5, like there's a 4 seasons, there's a basement, like it's pretty spacious. So I'm actually renting out the master and the bathroom right now. So I'm making profit on it while I'm furnishing it and living in it. And then my plan is, so we're currently acquiring another property right now. Hence when I told you like before we started this, that I'm wanting to settle down because I've been moving every 3 to 6 months since early 2021. So the plan is to get the next one acquired and then move into that one because they're not really, like I'm not forcing it. I'm more just in the flow of it, making sure everything's working out, it's ready, enjoying getting it ready, learn from it, making sure the next property and that it aligns with the mission and value of the growth of the business. But it's really nice at the same time. I mean, I've been 100% booked with this one, the renting out the master bedroom. So I'm still making money on it while I'm getting it ready. So it's paying off. I'm putting it towards like the business loan. Yep. Putting it towards the business loan to get it ready. So that's been really, really nice as well.
Sweet. And for your average furniture cost that you put into these, now you said about 8,000 is what you did for like the first one.
Yeah, I go
Has
scrappy.
it been pretty consistent?
No, I was very scrappy with that one. So $8,000 for the first 2-bed, 2-bath. Around, I would say for the arbitrage units, the 2-bed, 2-baths, anywhere from 8 to 12. So for the house itself, it's going to be around 33. We're looking at because I added a game room to the downstairs, redid the 4 seasons room in the back, getting the hot tub, and then redid some electrical work, and then of course all the furnishings with it. So with the theater room, a game room, all that jazz.
That's what really sells it in the photos once they see all the amenities, games, the hot tub.
Oh yeah,
and they're like, yeah, we'll definitely.
There's nothing like it in this area. There's a couple of people that have like a theater room, things like that, or like a couple like games and stuff like that. But I'm the whole point of why I do this also is to create experience. I'm very, very good at creating experience. That's my favorite part of this business to begin with and where my vision is going with it. So there's nothing like it. Like it's going to be the nicest one in Ankeny. So I'm super excited about that.
What type of games are you going to put into it? We've done arcades, poker, and on my next one, in the little 1-1 unit that I was talking about earlier, we're going to put a pool table in there.
Oh, nice. So we have the game room downstairs, and then the 4 seasons room is big enough too. I know I'm going to do some arcade ones, but I'm still stuck on like poker, blackjack, like air hockey. I still am figuring out the games. I might do a poll just to kind of see what people are wanting, just to really cater to people's needs and wants. But I can also have room for if I did like a pool table or a blackjack table out in the Four Seasons room as well. So I'm trying to make sure like what's gonna really utilize the space the most because I don't want it to be crowded. So that's actually still in the works. That's one of the last things that we're doing. I'm finished the Four Seasons room and the theater room I'm doing right now because all the upstairs is done. But the game room is actually going to be last because there's a lot of ideas brewing right now. And I have different things saved on Pinterest that I'm like, okay, like this is going to be dope, but like this needs to come together like smoothly.
Yeah. Would you do themes in any of these throughout, or is it kind of just nice, bougie, or
So
not like a specific thing? When I asked because I did one that's Candyland themed.
Stop.
So it's like bright colors, it pops everywhere. It looks sweet. I was like, it's a little too girly in here when we did it. And so I have a designer for all of mine. And I was like, we just need to dial it down a little. Like maybe change, maybe a little more blue, a little more green, less purple and pink and yellow and stuff. It turned out great, and it does way better than the other one, which is a poker themed one. But they both do good. It's just the Candyland one I noticed does a lot better.
So I think there's like themes, and then I think there's a cater to like feel and experience that themes can give. So a specific like branded theme, not really. So for our one bed, one bath that I call boho, like I designed it like bohemian, like decor and theme and color, and ran with it because of what fits the space. How I don't work with a designer. I probably will in the future just to help me really expand my ideas, but I'm like I mentioned, like I love the design part and creating the experience. So it really, if I'm in a space, like I kind of just like manipulate what's already here. What can I utilize? What can I really leverage that's already here that I don't have to change too much of to really maximize my capital? So once I'm in it, I'm like, okay, like the house that I bought, like it already has like the natural kind of earthy tone. So I ran with that in the upstairs and made it really unique. And then the downstairs with the theater room and game room, I know people can get very like neon and like spazzy and like Mario theme. But I'm going for more of like really like classic like luxury because it's already like this grayish tone and white. And I'm like, well, what if we just did like actual classic like theater where it's like we can have the kids and stuff over here, but the family, it can still be like that crisp, that clean, that really nice movie theater style that's kind of like old and modern. So I'm going to run with that because I don't want the elegance of the upstairs to clash with the really bold and bright and neon that I see a lot of people do with their game rooms, which is cool. It's fine that people, do those bold colors, but I'm just wanting it to flow a little bit. And then with the Four Seasons room, I'm like, oh, perfect. Like this already flows with like that earthy feeling and with the hot tub. So let's do like an entire like greenery wall. Like let's just run with it. So when people come here, it's like there's all the entertainment and the fun, but I can go over here, the ladies want to go and do their talk or sip their coffee or just have like some time for themselves, but they can really feel like home and relax.
What's the Four Seasons room? Is that what the Four Seasons room is? Is it a different type of a vibe or feel that you're referring to?
In the Four Seasons?
Yeah, the Four Seasons room.
Yeah.
About.
So like the whole upstairs of this place is already very like earthy toned and like really settling and relaxing and calm. So I ran with that in the upstairs and made it really cool. So I'm gonna, since the Four Seasons room is really big and beautiful in the windows and it opens up to the backyard and the hot tub, I'm like, well, let's run with it. And it's already like classic, that modern, but still with the twist with it. Like, let's do an entire wall, like a greenery wall with like a big neon sign. But
you should just be an interior designer. You're talking all like, you and my designer would get along great of like just talking all of this.
I'm probably not even making like the right words or references for it. I'm just really about like, I just focus on experience. Like if I'm going to have Tanner over, like I want him to feel like this. Like that's what I go for. I just go based on how do I want you to feel? How do I want you to feel when you come stay here? And I run with it and hoping that it will work. And so that's how I roll. I mean, Pinterest has been my best friend. And then also I realized like I can maximize my budget so much more if I just run with my ideas and try them and, pivot and manipulate, return stuff if I have to. That's fine. I have the time. That's how I'm rolling, that I don't need to be spending that money with an interior designer, which I may in the future for bigger projects. I think that would be fun to like collaborate. But at this time, with still, being in it just a couple years, I'm like, well, let's play. Like, that's the whole point of business, right? Is like to play again and to have fun. And so that really helps me incorporate that into the business. And then just designing is like, let's just play. Let's just make it freaking cool. Like, I want that wow factor. And like, or that factor was like, I just really feel like at home where they leave and they go home and they're like, oh, I noticed something at that property. Like, I want to incorporate that into my home because it made me feel like this, right? Like, we're always wanting to replicate that feeling or have that, or remembering that experience because it was based on a feeling.
That's really good. A lot of people should do that for their short-term rentals to make them stand out and do a lot better for revenue and getting more bookings too.
Yeah, it's fun. It's part of the journey. It's fun. I know people go into like conferences and stuff like that. It's always like chasing the next one. What am I doing? What am I doing? How quick? And I love that, but I noticed I got into that mindset as well when I got in like my first real estate mastermind, and like I said, only being it in a couple years, and it caused me to get into this like frantic of like I'm behind and like comparison. Like, it really caused me like to compare myself to other people and their journey, and like people would like really downplay arbitrage and like talk bad about it and stuff like that, and all these things. And it just made me realize, like, it made me like take a step back, and it's like, you don't know someone else's journey. And I am actually very grateful that I got started in arbitrage because it taught me to really leverage my virtual assistant. It taught me communication, like leadership styles. It taught me to like, I'm making so much money on these arbitrage units, like 2 to 3 times people are making on their medium term or long term rental, and I don't even own them. And it helped me get into the space where I am now. So it's always just like, take perspectives with a grain of salt, but don't really downplay your own journey and like compare it to others. Because like, going back to what I said earlier, like at the end of the day, are you even enjoying the process? Like, are you really building the life and doing it? Or are you just like chasing the next one, trying to get it done, trying to, it's so big, like real estate equals financial freedom. It's like, well, what does financial freedom even look like for you? That's different for so many people. And what I see a lot with like social medias and brand building and real estate and investors, it's like, I see people chase after others' definition of financial freedom. And so I'm glad I learned that, had that self-awareness early on. It's like, what does that actually mean for me? And what type of real estate empire do I want to build in that vision of what I see, especially since I'm going to expand outside of just short-term rentals and just enjoy it, because then you attract and meet people along the way that are on like a similar mission, and that's really beautiful.
So what's the empire that you want to try and build within your next step outside of short-term rentals?
So my plan right now is to have a more health holistic focused property, and that's also catered to a lot of like influencers, business owners, because masterminds have gotten extremely big. And over the next 5 to 10 years, I really see the focus of like experience and services taking off, and people really coming together in person, because there's so much virtuality going on with the expansion of AI that people are really, even right now, people are craving experience and being in people's presence. So I want to start catering to like the coaches, the people who own big businesses, the people who do masterminds, but have like that one-stop shop where everything's at the property, whether you're in, me being within my background in health and also having that so much in my heart, you have the sauna, you have the cold plunge, you have the services, you're partnering locally with people to help them bring their services in, whether you want the catering. So in time, you can also use it for a short-term rental, you can use it for your business, but then you're also catering to a totally different population and market where it's people that they can bring their businesses there, host the masterminds, do the events, rent it out for their purposes as well. So you're almost like diving in and using one property for multiple different areas. And so I plan on having these really nice properties in different areas of the United States. And then eventually a boutique hotel. I would really love to do that. Some low-income housing. So really just over the next 5 to 10 years, diversify the portfolio, see see what aligns with the values and to have fun with it. But that's my next big project, is to build something like that.
I do have a friend that is doing, he just got his first boutique hotel in Durango, Colorado, and he's getting another one here in Colorado Springs out in the Manitou area. And he's been having a lot of fun designing that and rehabbing everything and really creating a cool experience for people that are coming through the city.
Wow. I bet that's a really cool experience. His second boutique.
His second one. Yeah, he started doing like short-term rentals. He's got 4 or 5 now. And then wanted to, scale like you want to and try something bigger and a larger project and get into doing a boutique hotel. And I've seen the before and after photos on it, and it looks really cool. So yeah, definitely. I can always give you his contact info if you want to talk to him.
Oh,
about
thank you.
How he did it and everything like that. So yeah.
So how did you get started in real estate, Tanner?
So I'm from Arizona, and my dad was doing fix and flips there. He was the general contractor, and I would help out doing landscaping stuff here and there. He would always tell me about real estate, and then in college, I had all those experiences and was like, what am I going to do next? My dad showed me the Bigger Pockets podcast, started listening to that, and I was like, okay, like house hacking, I can definitely do that to get started. And so once I graduated, I found my first property, which was a condo, and just house hacked it and did a long-term rental on the bedroom that was there for a year. It was a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, so we each had our own space, and partnered with my mom to do that one, and then scaled to a duplex after that, and then scaled to a 4-plex is where I'm at now. And so definitely just listening to Bigger Pockets, I think, was the biggest factor. And I was chasing the idea of financial freedom. Didn't really know what it would look like. I just had an idea of I want to make money somehow so I could travel a little bit more, be able to see my family more too, because we live in all different states and it's always hard to get back over and see them. So that was the biggest reason why I got started in real estate.
So family definitely was a big contributor to getting into real estate as well.
Yeah. I would say my dad being in real estate, my grandpa has invested with me too, and my mom, and so they weren't as into real estate until I started getting into it, and since I talk about it all the time, they listen to the podcast now too. And
so cute.
So it kind of just become a family thing now, and now my sister works for a real estate company, so it slowly just spread once I got into it.
And what does that timeline look like? Paint the picture for me.
2021 is when I bought my first property, and then it was like one every year, 2022, 2023. Didn't buy one in 2024, and now I'm looking to purchase a self-storage facility as my next venture for this year. And I took that year off to kind of let things settle, make sure everything was running correctly, because I did a bunch of rehab so fast that we went over budget, and you're like, okay, we need to make sure we get everything in proper reserves in place before looking to purchase another one and make sure everything's running correctly.
So you mentioned that your family has helped you as far as like the capital and the investment side of things. As far as team-wise, do you have anybody else helping you? Do you have like a VA, or have you just really streamlined this with your family?
I would say my family has helped out with the investing side of bringing money. I've done everything else with finding the deal and organizing the rehab and their short-term rentals, and so all the design for those. But I have property managers for the short-term rentals. I manage the long-term rental I have. The short-term rentals, I managed them when I lived in them, because I would house hack and do a bedroom rental as like a furnished mid-term / short-term, whatever I could get on Airbnb at the time. But then once I moved out, I'm still a real estate agent as my full-time job, and so it was just too much having to manage. And the property that I have now can sleep 20 people in it, and the turnover for that is a lot of work, getting the cleaners on such a large property, making sure everything's checked correctly, that is good for the next tenant, that I just didn't have the time to bother to do that. So I just focus on what I'm best at, which is being a real estate agent and finding good deals for investment properties.
So you leveraged or I guess delegated the operations side of things, and then you've been mainly focused on like the acquisitions. How much percentage does that look like for their cut?
Typically, it's around 25 to 30%. Since the brokerage that I work for as an agent is also the brokerage that manages my short-term rentals, they do it for me at 20%.
Oh, perfect.
So it helps out a little bit there.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering. I've heard like 20 to 30%.
Yeah. And in the mountains of Colorado, it can get up to 35, 40% at times.
Ouch.
Yeah. And the stuff in the mountains, it's so high that you have to pay for property management there that it doesn't really make sense to buy there unless you're buying for a pure equity play and doing like 50% down or even all cash, and you use it for a good amount of time, and just whenever you're not there, you rent it out.
Right.
Is more the play to do in those areas.
So how long have you been a real estate agent?
5 years now. 4.5 technically, but we'll round up. Since I bought my first property, I got my license right after that in 2021.
Was that the plan?
The plan was to get into real estate somehow, and then I applied for a job somewhere as an inside sales associate, basically just cold calling. And then they said, oh yeah, we'll pay for you to get your real estate license. And I was like, oh, perfect, because I didn't want to pay for that. And worked for them for a year, and it was a good learning experience. We got leads through Zillow, went through that whole process, and then eventually moved to my friend's brokerage that was my managing broker at that company, started his own in doing the short-term rental property management stuff, moved over to his brokerage, and it's been a lot better since, and I feel like I've grown more as an agent too, helping more investors and buying more properties myself too.
And are all your properties in Colorado Springs?
Yep. Colorado Springs, south of Denver, about an hour.
Nice. And do you plan on expanding there? I know you talked about some storage. Do you plan on staying within the Colorado mid-region?
For self-storage, yeah. Southern Colorado is where I'm looking, and up in a little bit in the northern spots, just not in the central of Denver area, mainly because of price point are going to be too high there. But planning to do self-storage, probably won't do another short-term rental for a while, just because it's so heavy on upfront costs of the down payment plus furniture, and we're in a high price market, and so the numbers don't always make sense to rehab it, furniture and down payment. It's just hard to get that all to work.
100%. Where do you see yourself in the next, I want to say like 2 to 3 years?
2 to 3?
Like personally, and like I'm getting personal. So like personal and professional, not just real estate.
Yeah. Okay. So I live in Colorado right now, and I would like to buy a storage facility and see how that goes. Maybe buy another after that. And then I don't need to scale like a ton in the next 2 years. Just maybe a property a year would be good for me. And then I don't see myself staying in Colorado. I'm planning to move out of Colorado and move to like San Diego for part-time of the year, so that I would like to stop being a real estate agent and do more fix and flips, because being a real estate agent is a lot of driving around for everyone and finding everyone else buy investment properties, not so much yourself. And so I would just like to stop doing that. That's the goal in the next 2 years or so, I'd say.
Okay, that's professionally.
Okay. Well, that was like personally too, because I want to move.
You're like, okay, was that
state.
not enough? Tiana, stop getting, I don't want to tell you everything. No, that's cool. That's cool. I am on a similar wavelength as you. I just love traveling so much. I don't think I'm going to have one home. Like, I just will be that person that has 2 homes and bounces in between. Like, I want a mountain home and I want a beach home, and it's just what it is. Like,
yeah, same like, thing. Yeah.
100%. I'm like, that's why my next property I'm trying to get, or I'm not trying, I'm going to get in Utah. I'm just like, so excited.
Do you know what part of in Utah?
So I was so torn between like Salt Lake area, and I mean, Salt Lake's the valley. It's so huge because I grew up there. But what I really love is the parks. So, and the weather. So I think, my heart is calling to Southern Utah. and it's calling near Zion. And I'm like, you know what? When God puts the vision and the call, like, you answer it. So I am looking in the southern Utah, which I know St. George is a little bit more regulated, but there's so much expanding outside of St. George as well. So I'm just getting familiar with the market, looking at the vision, and that's just where I see myself. I really would like to be in Florida also, but I'm waiting for those prices to come down. What I want out of Florida is it's going to be a lot. Like, let's just be honest, it's going to be a lot, but that's the purpose of it, right? So I'm like, okay, out west, southern Utah, and then after that, whether it be like a hotel or like something bigger, but then the idea where my heart is building these bigger properties where people can host retreats and masterminds, but still for the use of like the Airbnb would be something like southern Utah, Florida, and just like really, really cool experiential places. Because that's where I think Airbnb itself is going. I mean, look at just the latest update, the experiences and the services. I looked in the metro here. There's no one that does services or experiences. Nothing. I was like, ooh, like, bingo. Yeah, no one. I don't know if because it was just launched. I'd have to look again today, but I just looked into this last week, or not even a week ago. There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. It's like, why wouldn't you monetize as much as possible for your place? Like, that goes for my bougie unit downtown, like hosting something for like romantic for couples, or you can even do like little girls like party or sweet 16 or bachelorette. I know people do this with
weekend.
Right, like people already do this for their properties, but you're able to monetize it so much more if you start creating it as like a service and experience and start bringing in like more like locals, or your I partner with your cleaner or partner with other like services to really, expand it. I know someone that from high school, and I went to high school in southern Utah, he's now a chef. And he like reached out to me about like, hey, like, would like your guests potentially like those services? And I'm like, that's perfect. I'm like, well, what about the dishes?
Yeah,
like, you guys do the dishes too?
Oh, I heard in Florida that a lot of the investors are leaving that market and wanting to sell in the next year or so because of all the home prices being where they're at and insurance prices increasing so much. So there could be an opportunity to get in the right market there.
Yes.
If you can still make the numbers work with those insurance prices and everything.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. I know David Green talked about that. I'm like, all right, David, like, are you going to create this insurance company or what? So, yeah, I know that the balloons and like the hurricanes, it's starting to scare people out. But, it's worked before, so it's going to work again. But like you said, numbers don't lie. You got to be patient. You got to make sure it works. So just be patient with it. There's so many areas within Florida that you could go, but again, does it fit what you want for your portfolio? Because ultimately, the properties that I get, like, I want to be able to use them too. Like, they're just not throw them up and then make money on them. Like, you want to experience that work that you created, the fruits of your labor.
And who doesn't want to just vacation in all these markets whenever you want to?
I know.
That's always fun.
I like San Diego. a lot. It's very pricey, but it's very pretty. I really love like Newport and Laguna. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so like California is, that's a whole other rabbit hole conversation to go down. It has a lot to offer. It's a beautiful state, but as far as living there full time,
I don't know.
Doesn't
so
align.
Much, I don't know so much about the real estate prices and if I would do real estate there at all because of their landlord laws, home prices, and all that stuff yet.
It's
I'm sure
crazy.
if I am there for a long period, eventually it just will happen, but I would prefer not to do anything in California and still invest in Colorado is my plan.
100%. It seems like a very large headache, especially like the poaching and stuff. Like, you got to be kidding me.
Would you ever invest anywhere in the Midwest other than, I guess when I say Midwest, I think of like Ohio or those types of places?
I've heard a lot of Ohio. I've heard a lot of people investing in Ohio. I would invest more in Iowa. I think there's a lot of opportunity here, especially with how much it's growing. So knowing that, like having the resources already, like the contractors knowing the market, I would invest more in Iowa. As far as other states in the Midwest, maybe do like some affordable housing. I don't know. I'd have to look into it more. maybe down the road. I wouldn't put it off, but as far as expanding out of other states in the Midwest, I know this starts to get a little bit more like east, but I think like looking into like the like Virginia, like the Tennessee, the markets over there. I know Kentucky, that's a big one right now. People are talking about the Carolinas, like just expanding a different region that I haven't had much experience in would be interesting. But right now and over the next 2 years, it's like I already know that Iowa has a lot of potential, and I already know that my properties so far are doing really, really well as far as the short-term market and with the medium-term market. So, and the entry, like the cost to entry is really pleasing. So I wouldn't downplay that. My partner actually is looking into like a little mini apartment complex. I think it's like a 15 unit in the town that he grew up in. It's a really small town, but they have a lot of travelers, a lot of workers coming there, and that has a lot of potential. So I'm like, all right, that's interesting, but I want something challenging and big, and something in southern Utah is like calling my name. So I think that's what's the next 2 years is going to look like. And I'm kind of similar with you. Like I'm not chasing like all these doors. I'm really doing it for like 1 to 2 a year I would be so happy with. Or if it was something big, like that one a year, I'm totally happy with that, because I think that would, I mean, people talk about like work-life balance. I don't think there's ever truly a balance. It's just really about enjoyment and opportunity and experience. And also it gives you time to really like to learn and to really harness that and to be able to regurgitate it and provide value for other people.
Definitely. I would agree. I think once you get more experience and you buy a couple properties, you have so many people that are watching what you're doing, and they ask so many questions, and you want to be able to turn them in the right direction and not make the mistakes that you made too on your properties growing as you went through your stages of becoming a real estate investor.
What is something that you've learned that's really stuck with you that you would, I guess, give to me?
Always have reserves. That's a good one. You've probably heard it before, but I didn't have enough reserves for going over budget on rehab, so that was pretty tricky to get that all organized. Once I went over budget, trying to borrow money from more investors, I basically was like very close every single month. Like it worked out and was okay, but it was like very like, if something within the vacation rentals went bad, it would have not worked out. And so I got really lucky that it did, and I had enough reserves, but I wish I would have had more to feel more comfortable in that scenario. So definitely having enough reserves, more than you really think that you should have, is probably
that's really good. Yeah,
crucial.
that's really good. I think that I face that a little bit with this property right now, but then I figured then I was like, well, perfect. Like I can have an extra bedroom that's really nice with a private bathroom. Like let's just rent it out. So I think that was, getting creative, getting creative with it is always it builds grit, resilience, and it helps you learn. And being flexible and adaptable, I think, is such a great skill.
You do have to be able to pivot very quickly. If things go wrong, like, okay, it's fine, let's just try this now, and kind of have ideas ready to go. I would say that most often comes up when we're doing rehab on items. It's like, hey, we're going to have to do this. It's going to cost more money. It's like, okay, well, let's try and not do that. And what other options do we have that still are okay and will still look good for the short-term rental, but we don't have to spend $5,000 more. We can spend $1,000 more to save on the budget.
Right. And that actually made me think of something. If somebody is listening to this and they're like, well, I haven't started at all and I know nothing about real estate and I just want to get in. Going back to like the flexibility, the adaptability, the being able to maneuver and pivot, if I think about that, I've really acquired that skill because of working as a travel nurse, moving every 3 to 6 months, having that as moving out at a really young age. I've harnessed these things that I've brought forward in my business. So I think for people to get your wheels turning, there is something that you're doing right now in your current career, or if it's not a career, just a job or something that you have faced in your life that is a skill that you can apply as a strength to business and to real estate. Like it all applies. I always say like your business is an extension of you, and what you bring to it is so valuable. Like you may like, and I think that's so important for people who haven't got started at all. Like I said, like people have made comments at real estate meetups like downplaying me for arbitrage, and it's like, wait a second, like I'm still in the game, bro. Like I'm still in the game. What do you mean? You know, so it's what are you currently going through? What have you gone through in your life? Whatever you're doing in your job right now that you can apply to even get started in real estate. Is it communication? Is it being flexible? Is it liking numbers? Is it just, you know, talking to people and negotiating? Is it offering like services? You know, like I know people talk about being like the apprentice and things like that for free, being a good executor. Like there's so many values and skills that you already have that's going to contribute to being in real estate, even if you don't have a property or the funds for it.
Yeah, I would agree. I think there's almost anything that in every job that translates to real estate in some way or shape that will give you a leg up to get started. And it really just comes down to getting over the fear of what's going to go wrong, because you know you're going to have problems. They're going to come up. Just have a plan ready for when that does, because problems will happen. You just have to get over it and get the first one done, and then you'll understand, oh, okay, all the fears I had, none of it even really happened, just this one thing, and we'll be prepared for it next time.
Yeah. Most of the time, the worst thing that you think can happen doesn't even happen. Like you can't continue the detour into fear. Like you can't have that emotional home to always like what ifs and living in fear. Like you have to detour into having faith, trusting, and that also is going to put you in the mindset when things do happen, is that you're able to have like your bounce back game is so much better. Like your comeback game, your bounce back game, being able to figure things out, opening yourself to more opportunities and possibilities. It's going to provide you with so much more clarity than just to always like keeping your head down or keeping your head like your mind in the gutter. You know, it's, I mean, the leaders preach about this. Like it's 80% psychology, it's 20% strategy. And I 100% agree with that. And I say this from experience too, like getting in your own head. Like you are getting in your own way. You're getting in your head.
That was really good. There's so many good quotes out there. Do you have a favorite one that stands out to you through your real estate journey so far?
Many. I'm obsessed with quotes. I mean, if you go to my Instagram, you'll see that. Especially with wanting to get into more public speaking and being a motivational and transformational speaker. Well, I just finished Bible study actually before I got on this call. So one that sticks out to me right now is faith without works is dead. So I'm going to leave you with that. Faith without works is dead.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's
faith without works is dead. Mm-hmm. You glitched out right there. Can you say it one more time?
Yeah. Faith without works is dead. You have to have faith.
Do you want to elaborate on that all? Because what I'm understanding from the quote is that if you don't believe in what you're doing and actually doing the work, it's just going to die. Is what I got from that.
Yeah. It's that easy. Yeah. It's that simple. Yeah. Yeah, you have to believe in your work. You have to believe it's going to work out one way or another. Most of the time it works out more beautiful than you've planned. If you're always trying to be rigid and have things go your way, want it to be on your time frame, your way, and it's not how it works, you know. It always works out more beautiful if you're willing to trust it, and you uncover so much more about yourself and whatever your beliefs are. For me, it is a reference to God, but the whole purpose of what we're doing this transcends beyond just, you know, doing it as a profession, doing it to make money. Because it impacts people's lives. It either drives them insane or it fuels them. I mean, you see so many of these real estate investors and leaders that are so beautiful. I mean, the summit that we just got back to, they really talk about harnessing like the lifestyle, you know. So it's you have to have faith or whatever that means to someone. But for me, it's having the faith in God and that it's all working out and it's happening for a reason and that there's purpose behind it, and you have implanted that vision within you. Your vision, it's for a reason. It's just time to execute. It's not about, if you're constantly thinking about the how, like you're robbing yourself of the creativity. the how always appears if you believe. The answers, the steps, just one little step at a time, one little action at a time. I didn't know I could get my first property. I had no idea. I started looking in July. I had set of parameters of what I wanted. Like, I had my non-negotiables, and I waited and I waited and I waited. I put an offer in on a property. I paid for the inspection, lost $500. It didn't go through because they weren't willing to fix the things that I didn't like. I didn't want, I think it's called Orangeburg, like the water piping and stuff. I didn't want that, and they weren't willing to do anything. So I paid. I was out $500, but I looked at that as like, that's experience for me. A brand, like my first property that I'm investing in. Yes, I paid $500 for the experience, but how beautiful. Because now I ended up with a property that I'm in right now. All my non-negotiables came true, and it's even nicer. And I got them to pay all the closing costs, and I only put $9,000 down. Like, come on. And it's awesome. Like, the place is beautiful, and I'm enjoying it. So that's what I mean by things work out better than what you think they could. And you start kind of like you start lowering down your standards. It's like, don't lower your standards, keep them there. It's kind of like a good reference for that is when you're hungry and you keep going back to the kitchen and you lower your standard each time until you get something. Like, don't do that when it comes to your goals. Don't do that when it comes to your mission. Like, keep high standards. If you don't, you're going to fall back into similar patterns and habits that are so under-deserving of what you're capable of. And then you get frustrated, and then people start to project that and get upset or mad, and they're wondering why their life is how it is, when honestly, it's just like, you got to face inward. You got to have faith. To me, business is a spiritual game, and I copy that from quoting Tony Robbins, and I 100% agree with that. And it makes it so much more beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Sweet. I think that's a great way to leave it. A great quote to end on.
Yes,
if people want to find you on social media, where can they find you at?
Yes, at Tiana Soliday on Instagram, Facebook, and Substack. What about you?
On LinkedIn
what about you?
Too?
I have a LinkedIn. I don't use it very much, so I'm focusing more on like YouTube, Instagram, and Substack. That's where the fun is at for me. But spill your beans.
I've never heard of Substack before, but I'm at tanner.pile on Instagram, and it's just Tanner Pile on YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn too. Those are the ones that I use.
Oh, I love that. Well, thank you so much for this opportunity, Tanner. This was fun.